I presided over hundreds of cases in my career: fraud, assault, property disputes, even a man who tried to sue his neighbor's goat for emotional distress. But nothing, and I mean nothing, compares to the day a parrot was brought into my courtroom as a witness. Yes, a parrot. It started as a fairly ordinary case, at least on paper. A domestic dispute between two neighbors. Allegations of verbal abuse, threats, and one very specific claim: that one party had been loudly insulting the other on multiple occasions. No recordings, no written evidence. Just one witness. When the defense attorney stood up and said, "Your Honor, we would like to call our witness Coco," I assumed it was a nickname. Then a man walked in holding a cage. I remember adjusting my glasses, thinking perhaps I'd misheard. But no, inside that cage was a green parrot, looking around like it owned the place. I leaned forward and asked, very carefully, "Counsel, is that a bird?" "Yes, Your Honor," the lawyer replied, completely serious. "This parrot has been present during the alleged incidents and has retained certain statements." Now, at this point, I should have shut it down immediately. Thrown it out. Adjourned for sanity's sake. But curiosity got the better of me. Also, I've been a judge long enough to know that sometimes the most ridiculous situations uncover something unexpectedly useful. So I sighed and said, "Proceed." The courtroom was already struggling to stay composed. You could feel it. That tension where everyone is trying not to laugh because they're in court, but they absolutely want to. The owner of the parrot stepped forward, puffed up with confidence. "Coco, tell them what you heard." There was a pause. The parrot blinked. Then, in the clearest, most aggressive voice I have ever heard from a non-human creature, it screamed, "You useless idiot. Can't even park a car properly." The entire courtroom froze. And then it happened. Someone snorted. Another person choked on their laughter. Even a court clerk had to look down to compose herself. I banged my gavel. Order. Order in the court. But inside, I was already losing the battle. The lawyer beamed. "As you can see, Your Honor, the parrot has clearly memorized the abusive language used by the plaintiff." I turned to the plaintiff, who looked absolutely horrified. "Would you like to respond?" I asked. Before they could speak, the parrot cut in again. "Shut up. Nobody cares what you think." That was it. I had to look away. I physically turned my chair slightly to the side because I could feel the laughter rising. Years of discipline were hanging by a thread. The defense attorney, clearly enjoying this far too much, continued. "Coco, what else did you hear?" The parrot puffed up its feathers and unleashed a string of insults so creative, so unnecessarily detailed, that I briefly questioned whether this bird had attended law school. Lazy, good for nothing, always complaining. Fix your life. At this point, even the bailiff had tears in his eyes. I tried again to restore order, but my voice betrayed me. It came out somewhere between a command and a suppressed laugh. That will be enough from the bird. The bird was not done. It looked directly at me, and then it said, "And you, stop looking like you ate a lemon." Complete stunned silence. Every single person in that courtroom turned to look at me. I have never, in all my years, been insulted by a witness, let alone one with feathers. I set my gavel down very slowly. "For the record," I said, as calmly as I could manage, "the court will disregard the parrot's personal commentary." The rest of the hearing was a blur. Every time someone spoke, the parrot would occasionally mutter something under its breath, sometimes relevant, mostly not. We eventually concluded that while the parrot's testimony was entertaining, it was not admissible as reliable evidence. There was no way to verify Kant.